So back in 2018, I was a recent college graduate working a pretty dead-end job. It was at a digital marketing agency in my college town. The pay was around $40,000 a year, which was decent, but the job was also a massive trap. There was no real room for promotion or growth, not much vacation time, and it would take years for me to get a small salary bump and the chance to earn a little bit more. But worst of all, every day I clocked into work and sat at my cubicle, I felt as if I was wasting my life. And so after about a year and a half of slowly becoming more miserable and unhappy, I decided it was time to make a change. I told my boss I was leaving, I was going to go start traveling and working online. I was young and restless and tired of staying in the same place. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but this would really kickstart the adventure of my life. Over the next 7+ years, I would travel to 6 different continents and spend time working remotely and exploring dozens of different cities around the world. Dubai, Cape Town, Bali, Athens, every few months, somewhere new and invigorating. I was literally traveling the world while making money at the same time, and life felt like a dream. But you know what? You can do the exact same thing. And you don't have to settle for being a broke backpacker or going into debt to travel or waiting years to save up to be able to afford to take a trip of your lifetime. Instead, you can turn to one of the many remote-friendly gigs or even jobs out there that legitimately pay you to travel. And that's why in today's video, I'm breaking down 9 legitimate paths you can use to earn money while traveling the world. Now, in this video, I'll also be covering some hourly earning expectations, as well as tips and tricks and strategies you can use to start out on each of these different pathways. Now, you can comment down below what your dream destination is or what kind of remote work you're most excited for, but there's definitely some cool opportunities in this one. Let's get to it. All right, guys, so starting off, it's one of the most obvious examples out there, but it really is one of the most lucrative, and that's to become a remote freelancer. Now, you hear this advice all the time. People will say, quit your job, just dive into freelancing. You'll figure it out as you go along. Just try it, man. It's gonna work out so well. Honestly, in my experience and from what I've seen, if you just jump into freelancing, you quit your job and you go across the world on a one-way ticket without any clients and without a game plan, it's usually a recipe for disaster. Instead, I suggest doing what I did. So when I was working at this digital marketing agency that I really didn't like, I was still learning a lot about SEO, digital marketing, content writing, and a bunch of other valuable skills. So I started reaching out to some publications that were looking for freelance writers or looking for people to help them with their digital marketing strategy. It really wasn't much at the start, like I was barely making grocery money. But after a couple of months and after reaching out to more and more clients, I slowly built up a roster that was paying me about $2,000 per month. Now, I had scaled this income while still holding down my day job, but more importantly, I had learned a lot of valuable skills without risking my entire income all at once. And again, I had diversified my income by getting several clients under my belt. I suggest you do the same thing if you're looking into remote freelancing opportunities. Take the skills you know currently or the ones you're learning at work right now and leverage them to start finding freelance work within your industry. I mean, you can find all kinds of opportunities on websites like FlexJobs, or you can also look on LinkedIn and network there. And companies are always looking for freelancers or contract workers, even in today's job market. Now, again, you might have to be a little bit sneaky just in case you're violating a non-compete or anything like that. But again, I don't recommend quitting your job and just traveling across the world, hoping you figure it all out. Now, personally, some areas I think that are ripe for freelancing opportunity include anything involving AI automation, paid advertising, email marketing, and content creation. But you can also take more normal day jobs and look for freelancing opportunities. There are remote accountants, there are virtual assistants, there are remote bookkeepers. Jobs like that. Again, it might suck holding down a day job you really don't like, but in my experience, you should build up at least 50% of your current salary as a freelancer before you kind of make the leap and go all in. All right, guys, now the second job that pays you to travel or is super travel friendly is being an English teacher. This is honestly one of the easiest ways to live abroad, especially in the Middle East or Asia or parts of Europe. And I have met so many teachers from around the world during my travels over the last 7+ years. Now, one thing that's really nice about being an English teacher abroad is that you can often find programs where they cover your accommodation or they cover a lot of your expenses, and they'll even help you move there in some cases because, again, they're really looking for qualified teachers. A good friend of mine actually just moved from Calgary all the way to Melbourne to teach And again, she's a relatively new teacher, but she got accepted into this program and she's now having the adventure of her lifetime. Now, what's also nice is that the salaries can be pretty decent, upwards of $2,000 to $3,000 per month in Asia, and sometimes between $1,000 and $2,000 in South America, which again, in many countries in these continents, goes pretty far. But I've met teachers working at private schools in Dubai and they make a lot of money. So again, the pay is quite variable, but again, oftentimes your accommodations are completely covered. Now, in terms of where to get started, my first piece of advice would be to at least get your TEFL certification so you can actually teach English as a secondary language to people. You can also find jobs on Teachaway as well, which is another great website to find teaching opportunities overseas. A lot of people I know also went to teachers college and then did exchange programs or looked for remote opportunities in different countries. So again, lots of ways to go about it. But speaking of making money while traveling, guys, if there's another thing you really have to take care of while you're on the road, it is certainly your health. And that's why, once again, like I mentioned before on this channel, I want to talk about SafetyWing really quickly and why I think you guys should check them out. SafetyWing is a company I've been using for years in my digital nomad adventures, and I think they have some of the best health insurance and travel insurance plans for nomads and remote workers really on the market. Really, you don't want to put your health at risk or worry about things when you're on the road. So in my opinion, using a company like SafetyWing while you're traveling, while you're looking for remote work opportunities, and while you're exploring the world is definitely a smart move. They have a variety of plans as well. They have a more basic one, and they have a complete plan as well that is very comprehensive for nomads and longer term travel. Again, I've been using them for years, so I feel pretty comfortable mentioning them on the channel. They're something I use everywhere I go pretty much in the world, so I'll be linking them down below if you guys want to check them out and help support the channel. Back to the jobs. All right, guys, and the third job or way to get paid to travel the world is to become a travel nurse or some kind of healthcare practitioner. Now, this route certainly requires a lot more schooling than many of the other routes, but it can be insanely profitable. Many countries, including the US, are in incredible desperate need of qualified nurses or doctors right now. And so if you're a qualified nurse or healthcare practitioner, you can make so much money by often getting sent to more remote areas for 6 to 12-month contracts and basically working as a nurse or healthcare practitioner in this new area. Seriously, some of these people are making upwards of $2,000 to $3,000 per week. I'm not kidding you. It really depends on how remote the area you're going to is, what your skills are, and again, what country you're kind of doing this in. But in the United States right now, this is such a lucrative opportunity. I mean, I met a woman in Florida who was basically visiting Florida. That's where she's from, but she's an ultrasound tech, and she was being sent to all kinds of remote places in the United States or really small towns, and she was making so much money while getting to travel throughout the United States. There's also plenty of websites where you can find these opportunities. There's Trusted Health, there's Aya Healthcare, Fast Staff, Nomad Health, and all kinds of other websites where, again, you can find plenty of these opportunities. All right, guys, and the fourth path to make money while traveling the world is to become a content creator. Now, this is really the dream life you see promoted on Instagram, and a lot of travel influencers out there will have courses about this or try and sell you things. And it's funny because this is kind of the path I'm on unintentionally. Like, I started out in blogging, then I kind of became a YouTuber, and here we are. So hey guys, thanks for watching. But again, content creation is certainly one of the routes that enables you to effectively make money from anywhere in the world. Now, again, my path is far from unique. It took me many years to build up. I started blogging in college. I became a freelance writer. I started YouTube back in 2020. And really, it all sort of snowballed together, creating multiple income streams for myself, helping me become financially independent, and again, letting me make money as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection. And the reason I share my own story is that it just goes to show that anyone can do this kind of thing if they're consistent and they stack small wins over time. Maybe you're selling online fitness coaching, or maybe you're building a social media following on Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat or something like that, or TikTok. Really, you shouldn't expect to strike it big overnight, but if you stick with something for a couple of years and you stay consistent, it honestly is incredible what opportunities can open up to you as you start building an audience. Again, I've met so many nomads over the years, people making money as online coaches, people making money as YouTubers, as bloggers, as affiliate marketers. And the common theme is they all started as a passion project. They stuck with it. And a couple of years later, it was their main income source. Now, like remote freelancing, my advice here is that if you're going to go down this path, do it on the side while you hold down a day job. Get your income up to about 50% of your salary. And then you can consider quitting, going all in, and traveling the world at the same time. All right, guys, and the fifth path to make money while traveling the world, it's one I love, but it's essentially to become some kind of tour group leader. And the idea here is basically to lead people through iconic places while living there. And there's all kinds of opportunities here for local tour guides, hiking guides, expedition guides, drivers, and much more. I've honestly met a lot of people doing this kind of stuff, especially in Africa. There's people there leading all kinds of safari tours or hiking expeditions, often from all over the world. Like, they're not even necessarily from that country in Africa. They might be from somewhere else, but they're making really good money or having the adventure of their lifetime and basically getting paid to do that job. Now, this is probably best if you're an extrovert and you're really a people person. I don't think you'd have too much fun if you don't like working with people. But again, there are so many cool opportunities out there. There's also lots of websites you can apply. There's G Adventures, there's Contiki EF Tours, all kinds of different websites out there looking for travel guides. And one other creative path you could take if you live in a country currently that also has a booming tourism industry is to create some kind of Airbnb experience and basically run your own tour operation business yourself. Again, I've seen people doing this all over Africa and Europe and Asia, where essentially they offer guided tours or some kind of expedition or experience. They run it through Airbnb and they keep way more of the profit themselves. All right, guys, and the sixth way to get paid to travel the world is to work for some kind of cruise ship. Now, again, this is a pretty simple one. You get paid to essentially travel the world, check out different areas, you get your lodging and food covered. And yeah, you're working on a cruise ship, but again, you do get the opportunity to travel inherently with the job. What's also nice is that many entry-level positions just require a high school diploma or some basic certification. So again, if you're kind of young and you don't exactly know what you want to do yet, but you want to take a year to have some fun with some other young people and kind of figure things out, you could look at working on a cruise ship. Now, salary is difficult to pin down for this one because the entry-level positions honestly don't pay that much, but if you work your way up and you end up working at a higher level position, you could be making a few $1,000s per month. Again, it depends on the cruise line, seniority, and kind of where you start. But jobs are very easy to find. You can look at pretty much any major cruise line out there, see their job page, or look on LinkedIn or look on Indeed and see cruise ships or cruise lines that are hiring right now. All right, guys, and the seventh path you can use to make money while traveling the world is to look for a work exchange program. And honestly, this is one of the more exciting opportunities out there, and it's also really good if you're not afraid to get your hands dirty or afraid of some hard work. There's all kinds of hotels, resorts, farms, and businesses that are looking for volunteers or workers who want to travel and basically put in some work in exchange for room and board. And honestly, Workaway is one of the best platforms to find these kinds of opportunities, and some of them are so cool. I mean, you can find all kinds of cool boutique hotels or farms or NGOs or honestly just random businesses out there that, again, are looking for essentially volunteers or part-time workers to come help them out. They'll cover your room and board. You can check out somewhere new and basically get paid while you live there. And really, if you're taking some kind of gap year, or again, you want to just take 6 months to a year, you want to travel, but you want to do it for cheap and you don't exactly know what you're doing with your life, you could try something like a Workaway program. Worldpackers is another website I recommend checking out too. It has all kinds of cool opportunities. But again, just keep in mind, guys, most of these opportunities will just cover your room and board and some food. Some of them, they sometimes have some cash payments or a little bit of a salary, but that's not too typical. It's really more of a volunteer position usually. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys, and the eighth way to make money while traveling the world is to become a flight attendant. Now, this is similar to being a cruise ship worker. Travel is just a part of the job. So again, if you're looking for an industry where you want to travel and you want to get paid at the same time, you could look at being a flight attendant. I have quite a few friends who have done this. And what's really cool is that it didn't take them that long to become a flight attendant. Like, they completed some certification and courses, and then within a month or two, they were basically working for an airline. Now, I will say that when you start out, you'll probably be limited to domestic flights. At least that's kind of how it works in Canada and the United States. And you do have to kind of work your way up to the international flights or the higher paying jobs and roles within the company. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys. And the ninth and final path I wanted to cover for how you can make money while traveling the world is to become a seasonal worker who lives abroad. And the idea here is basically to go to countries where there's some kind of seasonal job or opportunity out there and to live there for part of the year. And honestly, so many people do this in Canada. I swear, if you go to Alberta, it doesn't matter if you're there in the summer, you're there in the winter, you will find so many Australians and New Zealanders or people from the UK working in the bars, the restaurants, the hotels, the ski resorts, things like that. A lot of other countries have this kind of thing going on too, where again, people will go and work in hospitality or they'll work in agriculture or natural resources for some of the year. I've also gone to places like the Dominican Republic, and I've met scuba diving instructors or tour group operators who are, again, from Europe, or they're from another country. They're not from there originally, and they're there for 6 months on some kind of contract, kind of just kicking it back and having some fun. Now, again, the pay here, it really depends on the country you're in and the kind of job you're doing, but lots of these roles will cover your accommodation and make it super simple to get started. There's also tons of websites you can check out. There's Coolworks, there's Season Workers, there's all kinds of other platforms out there. And again, some countries like Canada, the UK, Australia, they really make it easy for people to come and go and work between these countries through these sorts of programs. But anyways, guys, there you have it for 9 different paths you can take to potentially make money while you travel the world. You know, honestly, I've been a digital nomad for quite a few years now, and I'm back on the road. I'm actually in Romania at the moment, and I intend on traveling for the next couple of months at least. And I love this topic. I think a lot of people are hesitant to travel, and kind of rightfully so, because travel to them is expensive, and it means giving up their job or giving up their security or going into debt, and it just doesn't really seem feasible. But there are so many paths out there you can take to earn an income while you travel. And even if you're not covering all of your expenses while you're on the road, you can certainly avoid debt or really cover a lot of your expenses, even with a little bit of effort. Hopefully one of these pathways inspires you to at least travel a little bit more if you've been on the fence. And if you're currently earning while you travel, or this is something you're really interested in as well, I'd love to hear from you guys about what you think down in the comments as well. But yeah, that really does it for this one, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching and for all the support as well. It really does mean a lot. I hope you all have a fantastic day and week, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.